Hey, great there. Great, great Monday. It is a beautiful evening in the city of Brownsville, Texas, and I had made some promises out there that I was going to do my best to try and stay away from different candidates when they were going to come out on podcasts. More than anything, out of let them have their piece, their say. Sometimes, folks, you find yourself in a position where it's just so difficult not to say something. And look, I had this conversation with Frankie, and I've had this conversation with other folks in regards to Erasmo. Stop going after, yeah. Stop going after, uh, stop going after the candidates, but just focus on your race and what you're going to do. And I just find that very, very difficult. Um, because it's not an Erasmo Castro to stay quiet, and it's hard, but it's just not me to stay quiet. So I had to chime in regards to a great job on Manny's part on having and getting John Cowan to actually come and speak. Uh, it was just unfortunate that we heard very very little substance, but it was a great show, and you know I just want a little bit more. I want there to be a little less political talk, and I just want a little bit more of a. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. One of my, I think it's okay we talk about your show, right?
Yeah, of course.
Look, one of my concerns was, Commissioner Cowan mentioned, oh, well, $30 million, right?
Yeah.
$30 million that maybe the individuals that were out there getting all these little cushy contracts from PUB. You know, remember that part?
Oh,
30 million
yes.
bucks. Well, you know, one of the biggest benefactors to those $30 million was Eddie Trevino, and I'm very proud that individuals out there went out there in question. Well, is this one of your supporters? One of the individual? Well, yeah, good friends with him. You're actually going to meet with him this week. And we're like, well, maybe you need to go tell him, give us back our damn money, bitch. Because one of the biggest benefactors from that Tenasca deal was Eddie Trevino. It came out on the audit report on there. He was the PUB attorney during the Tenasca mess, you know? So
Yeah.
it seems that all these people are in this little clique together. So how do we expect retribution? How do we truly have faith to believe that we're getting some of this money back? And this thing with well, we're gonna look at all the options. Tell me what you're going to do, you know?
Yeah, I don't know that he had the answer on the 11 million, and I mean they're him and Roy are so far apart on that. Colin's like, oh yeah, I think we can get it done, and Roy's like, nope, not gonna happen. Pfft, don't even think about it. And I seem to like John's answer a little bit than I do Roy's, although Roy may be more realistic about it, perhaps.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, that's you just mentioned the problem. The problem, Manny, is I I like John's answer too. We're gonna give you back your money. We're gonna give you back $11 million. But the truth is what Commissioner De Los Santos said. That's the truth. We're not gonna get it from the city because
yeah.
it's not gonna happen. It's impossible. So my concern
See,
is
but the problem I have with that is Roy saying he does not support getting it back from the city. So if the city said, you know what, we got 5 or 6 million that we do want to give back, and is Roy going to say no? Let's not give that back.
Well, I think what, and again, I think that one of the things that Commissioner, and I'm not going to speak with him, I think what he was trying to address and state with his comment was PUB better give us back our money, which I'm hoping that Commissioner de los Santos is coming around because, again, we have discussions. Commissioner Santos and I, we had one last, which was a great, great segment. We had one last night, but again, Commissioner Santos and I could go out there publicly and have a debate, one-to-one forum, and then right afterwards go down to Denny's and go have us a grand slam, you know,
Yeah.
because it's not personal. It's just business politics. And, again, I get along real well with him. But one of the things that he knows, I will call him out on anything that I feel is not completely truthful, because a lot of the stuff that we got tonight was political talk. It was this. Well, we're going to work on it. We're going to get five options, and then we're going to choose from the five. That's political talk. Tell me what you're going to do. Tell me what you're going to do, because is it possible? The question that we have to ask is it possible for the people of Brownsville to get a refund? And the answer is yes. How? Just do it. I had conversations back, um, 6 years ago, Manny, um, when we were out there all screaming about give us back our Tanasca money years ago. This isn't something that's new. It's new to John and to Jessica. It's new to them because they never wanted to hear it. Because one of the things that Commissioner Cowan stated tonight, he's been in that group for years. It's been in this board, this committee, this Sampaio was his bed buddy, bedtime buddy, not best buddy, BB or something, whatever they call it. I'm not saying that they go to bed together, but they might. But what I'm saying is they're camaradas, good close friends. He's also good friends with Jude Benavides, the Langleys, the Signs, all these people that are sitting on the PUB board right now. No one could have given a heads up in regards to what's going on. And again, 6 years ago when we were dealing with this stuff, I contacted the city of FAR because the city of FAR went through something similar, not to the Tenasca extent, but something similar. And we asked them. I was sitting on the. Oh, it was before the BS board. I asked them, "How did y'all do it? How did y'all give the people in FAR their money back?" And the guy said, "Easy. We cut them a check. Just that simple. Cut them a damn check." That is what the city of Brownsville needs to do. It needs to hold PUB's feet to the fire and demand that money be returned to the people. It's just as simple, not credit. Now, look, one of the things that Sampaio mentioned at a city commission meeting, Manny, was, well, maybe people could opt out of receiving the money back. You know, receiving these credits, and they have this Democrat mentality. So why don't uh, they opt, Manny, to exclude the 1% or the big corporations? Because Democrats hate the big corporations. Why don't they exclude the big corporations from receiving anything and just give it back to the people? You know, because we are in a Democrat
I
laden.
mean, how do you think BISD would feel about that? How do you
Well,
think,
they better be pissed. They better be pissed if ultimately that's what was decided. But the ones that were truly affected were the people. It's not going to hurt BISD. Take into consideration, BISD is riding on a $585 million budget a year, plus the ESSER funds that they received, which I think it was 185 million extra cash out there. They've got monies coming out of their pores. They're not going to suffer. The people of Brownsville suffer. But again, doing the John Cowan thing it'd be an option. But we don't. I don't want options. I don't want five options at the table. I want to tell me what are you going to do for as restitution to people of Brownsville. That's all we want. And look, they play with these numbers, and we discussed this last night, Manny. They play with the
Mm.
numbers of our share. Well, it's not 179. It's already been proven. There were no subsidies, Manny. Did you ever hear about our bills being subsidized? Ever?
No.
Honestly, wouldn't that have been a like major news?
Absolutely.
We never heard about it until it was convenient to be placed on this audit. I haven't seen this new audit that's a public record. I'm going to see if Commissioner Dos Santos, be so kind to send it our way. Seems like the only one that is approachable on the PUB board, the city commission right now. Anyway, send us the new audit report, the new findings. But again, the way I read in regards to the subsidies, they were a response from PUB. It wasn't the audit, Manny, but it's a response from PUB in regards to what they did with the money. So, do I trust PUB?
Mm.
Tell me what they did with our money? Hell no, bro. You gotta be stupid to trust PUB, you know? And one of the things, and you might not have gotten to the comment, one of the things that he stated was, don't blame Brusiak. He said that. Do not blame Brusiak.
Yeah.
What do you mean, don't blame Brusiak? It's on the report, Manny. Brusiak and Martinez were out there deceiving the people of Brownsville. It's in the report. Don't blame Brusiak. And the reason that John doesn't want to blame Brusiak is because they ride in the same circles. It's the same people. So are there going to be indictments against these folks? No. There should have already been indictments. You know?
Yeah. I
Some,
mean, if it hasn't happened by now, when
some
it's clearly stated right there in the report.
I mean, someone being investigated, questioned. I mean, and Brownsville is that type of town where word gets around. You know, John Brusiak was called in for questioning. Has anyone heard that? And again, call me out if I'm wrong. Has anyone out there in the community heard that John Brusiak was called? Oh, that's man, that's you. Was
Yeah.
called in for questioning in regards to the audit? Absolutely no,
Yeah.
none.
What
And
do you
that's
think about the that pipeline that's going from here to McAllen that they could sell that or use it for different purpose and make money from that to
well,
recover funds?
they've got to sell everything that's international related. Now, what are the things that might be to our advantage, Manny? Now is that the price of property has skyrocketed here.
Hmm.
So let's say that they bought this piece of property, and I know because one of our properties out there by the Port of Brownsville, I mean, it went up from like $90,000, Manny, went up to $250,000. You know, so I'm going to guess that in these past 10 years, if they were out there buying property like crazy people, oh, which according apparently they did. So now it's probably worth a lot more money. So maybe we'll get more money from sell everything. One of the things that I don't know if you remember, but Tony Martinez came out on an interview with a Mexican news station, and it was Marta from Univision. No, Telemundo. I don't know where she's from. She's probably gonna hate me because I think it's Telemundo, but she's in Telemundo, and Martha, asked him. She goes, Mayor Martinez, do you think that the people of Brownsville should get a refund? You should get their money back. He said, no, PUB should keep that money for later on. And we're like,
For
you
later on.
you want us to trust the entity that took 179 million of our dollars? And look, uh, I expanded on it this morning during the morning show uh, in regards to the monies. Look, Manny, the monies that were let's go 114. That's what Commissioner De Los Santos said yesterday, right? Let's say
Mhm.
114. Well, actually, it was 179 that was invested into Tenasca. But Commissioner Santos mentioned, he goes, well, it could have come from the general fund. It could have come from, PUB. Yeah, but it was for Tenasca. We can agree on that, right?
Yep.
It was for Tenasca. Who does PUB belong to? Us. So PUB used our money for Tenasca, our money, because the way they got to 179 million was including the money that they already had in that vault out there or in that safe. Well, that money belongs to us anyway. If you're going to be using our money to enter into a scam deal that later on we've learned that you continue to play the ball knowing well, and Commissioner Cowan said this, they knew it was a failed project, then I want that money too. So I want, Manny, $179 million. I don't want 29. I mean, I want 29. I don't want 29 only. I don't want 11 only. I want the 179 back. And that's what I'm going to do. I am going to give back the people of Brownsville 179. I don't give a rat's ass, Manny, where the hell they're going to have to come up with it. I don't care if they have to declare bankruptcy. You better give the citizens back their money. It's got to happen, Manny. They took, they lied, they cheated, they stole. They need to pay. And I'm surprised. I'm surprised that Commissioner Cowan is still stuck on the 29 million. I mean, who could be happy with that, man? You wouldn't be happy with that.
Is that the amount of money? Okay, so what they're saying is when they raised the rates to fund this, the only amount of money that was raised from the citizens and on their bill was 29 million.
No, 114.
114 million.
114. The 29 was put aside as escrow. So they put aside 29 million in order to pay
Okay.
for the interest in the continuation of the Tenasca deal. So that's
So
what
it's
was.
$114 million is what was raised by everybody's higher rates.
That's the amount that they gave us. I still tend to believe it was closer to 135. But let's say 114. That's what was raised by the rates being increased. So I want it all back. Everything. But look, I don't want people to fight for 29 million or 40 million. I want you to fight for the 179. But okay, at the end of the day, Manny, you know, I'll take 135 because that's how you do business. You know,
Yeah.
I want it all back. I
Go for
want
the
it.
179, hoping to get 115.
I'll be okay with 114. But I'm
And
going to shoot.
then does it matter to you if it's a refund or if they credit your bill every month for
I want to check. I want to check. I don't want to credit because again, I don't trust them with our money, you know? And I hate this. Oh, we're gonna give you a credit. Who decides, Manny, what your light bill is? Do you trust them with saying, okay, guys, well, this month, Manny, your light bill's 300. Was it really
yeah,
300?
here's a $20 credit.
Was it really 300? Or was
Mhm.
it 320? And you're telling me that you're giving me $20 credit on it.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't trust them. I just don't trust them. I don't trust
Here's
them, man,
Roy.
with our money. I don't trust them with our money. And I
Yeah.
have reason not to trust them with our money. And again, and I'm glad that Commissioner Cowan stated and Commissioner Los Santos and everyone stated, how can you trust these people? You know, to gain the trust. No, I think, and I correct myself. I think Brian Martinez stated, going to be hard to recapture the trust of the
Yeah.
people from these folks.
Susan said it as well.
Susan said it as
Susan
well,
Susan said, "I don't just give me my money back, and I'll decide who I want to help of my neighbors and my friends."
because that's what makes sense, Manny. Because I don't trust you with my money. Because you lost that trust because for the past 10 years, although during that 10-year period, you took my cash. Does anyone want to trust PUB with giving individuals a credit after they lied, they cheated, they steal? They greased the wheels, Manny. They greased the wheels.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't understand what's this devotion to Eddie Trevino? You know, what's this devotion to Eddie Trevino? Manny, he was the PUB attorney during the Tenasca mess, man. You know, the guy made what, $20 million, somewhere around there, Commissioner
Mm.
de Los Santos. He probably has the better amount. Let's say $20 million. He banked $20 million of your money, Manny, and my money. McCowan's going to go out there and get his support because they're all in the same clique. I don't care for Eddie Trevino. It's just as simple as that. And I don't care for Eddie Trevino, not for anything. Oh, because he's short or because he's ugly. Can't stand Eddie Trevino because he took 20 million of our dollars, and he knew 2 million, something like that. You might be right. Yeah, I might have exaggerated. You're right. I think the total was like $30 million. Yeah, you're right. 2 million. My bad. But I don't trust him. You know, let's go to Mexico. He just took the leave. I don't trust him. As far as I could throw. I don't care for the guy, not a bit. They have us in the dark. We're the biggest idiots in Texas. And no pun on PUB. When you mention Brownsville, first thing people say is corrupt politicians. Let me say the other thing. In tonight, we're mentioning the zoo. All of a sudden, such a great idea. To think about Cummings. I've been saying that for years. You
Mm.
know, and again, that's fine. Okay, they could go out there and John could try and take credit for, this is my big idea. Let's say, have talks with BISD for Cummings. More power to you, bro. What about the middies? What about all that linear park? Yeah, give it away to the zoo.
Yeah.
What about the imported park? Give the zoo a big old chunk of that. You know,
Something's
Give
got to
it-
give.
something's got to give. Look, and I understand that it was previous administrations that screwed it up. Yeah, it's $2 million. You're right, and again, I'm wrong. $20 million, $30 million was everything. You're right. Yeah, you see, how it came anyway. It was previous administrations that did nothing towards the zoo, Manny. But the question is, what has Jessica Tetrow done for the zoo in the past 12 years? You know, zero. What has John Cowan done for the zoo in the past 4 years? Oh, we came up with a master plan. Master plan. We're talking about we need land expansion. Let me tell you, I did not know about losing the accreditation. It's going to be
Yeah, I didn't know
devastating.
either.
It's going to be
That's a
devastating for the
problem.
zoo.
Huge.
Huge. Now, Manny, isn't everyone on this right now? Why are we
That's the
so
first. That's the first that I hear that they're at risk of losing their accreditation.
right? Then why are we still focusing on downtown when the zoo is in danger of losing accreditation? Why are we focusing all that Elon money, those $10 million, Manny, on downtown? And look, they were saying, well, Elon said it had to go to downtown. Okay, that's fine. Fix it. You've got a problem. Fix it. You know how you fix that, Manny? 1848. You know what 1848 is, right?
Mm. The other thing is by this Elon Musk money to beautify downtown. Now that's money that the city has. Oh, now we don't have to touch that money. Let's send this to the zoo.
Well, all they have to do, Manny, is do the 1848. And the 1848 is what they did in order to give Limas and Tony Martinez more money. They voted to extend the historical downtown district to encompass 1848. So easy fix, Manny. Have a vote and encompass the zoo
The zoo
to
into
be
that.
included in the historical downtown district. Because Washington Park is already part of the downtown district, supposedly. It's just 3 blocks away, Manny, because they don't want to remove Commissioner Los Santos. They don't want to remove Sombrero Fest from Washington Park because it's downtown, you know? So expand it then and give the zoo whatever's left of the Musk money, you know? Give it to them because we're going to lose accreditation. And the GoFundMe page, you better believe it happened.
Yeah.
I posted it. I was shocked. And it wasn't
When was
only
that? When was that?
during the pandemic. And it wasn't only Gladys Porter Zoo. It was also Camille Playhouse, Manny. And they had to let go some people. And again, I understand COVID hit and everything else. But these are the groups, these are the organizations that the city should have funded, you know, and maintained instead of Trey Mendes trying to get $200,000. But nobody wants to talk about Trey Mendes getting $200,000, you know? It doesn't fit anybody's narrative. Where the money went. The wrenches and the Ercots are blowing away this issue. Wrenches. They're blockbusting in East Texas Tetro, Caliche parking lots in the perfect example. Less than 2 million. Yeah, yeah. I got it wrong. I can admit when I get stuff wrong. Or around, not 20. And I was thinking about the 20 to 30 million that all the contractors took. Yeah, you're right. I hate when I say when you're right. They should have set up tents in Linear Park for homeless people. Why hide the problem?
Hmm.
But Linear Park, man. And this is look, Manny. This is why where I think you've been to the zoo, right?
Yes.
You know the only reason Linear Park is there is for the bike lanes, hiking bike lanes, because it feeds into what they have as the farmers market right there, and they're not going to do anything. Look at this cannery thingamajig that they got. You know, they put that cannery thing over there, farther down where that Jackson Feed place used to be. Right? Is
Hmm.
that where it's at?
Yeah.
And then, have you seen the front of the zoo where they've got that space gravel crap hike and bike trail? You seen it? It's a
I
black
haven't
one.
seen that one.
It's a black one that goes down Ringgold Street and hits Palm Boulevard. And it's made out of, and Commissioner Santos might know, whatever, that whatever thing it is. It's all been about hike and bike trail, Manny. It's all been about hike and bike trail in that area. You got to be one stupid piece of crap to think that that was one of the biggest priorities for that rubber recycled tires. Yeah, but it's got that space thing or something. You know what I'm saying? They brought it from some place or other. I don't know what it was, but it's all this black thing. Well, why not just close up that part of the street? You know, That
Yeah.
little that little tirita that goes, Manny, from Dean Porter Park, where the limit is at, all the way down to Seventh Street, all the way to hits through Cummings. Just close it all off and give it to the zoo. But now Cowan says, "Well, Cummings, they've been saying that for years, years. And look, oh no, Erasmo didn't think of this. It wasn't because of Erasmo. It's our idea. We should have had this idea years ago. Because to lose accreditation for the zoo is going to be devastating
Yep.
to the people of Brownsville, to the
That
economy.
could that could shut down the zoo.
I mean, and call me a prophet, call me Nostradamus. I I said that our zoo ultimately, Manny, was going to be left with chickens, cats, dogs, and goats, and chivitos. It's going to be one of those zoos. I think the future of our zoo, Manny, is going to be a petting zoo.
That's exactly what I was thinking right now.
That's what I'm afraid of. That if we continue to funnel money into Rose Gowan's little pet projects, into Jessica Tetro's duck ponds, into God only knows what other little crossroads and all these other bullcrap little events, the more we funnel money to those, we're going to have a petting zoo. And can you see the marketing for it already? Hey guys, we've got the best petting zoo in all the country. Yeah, and they're going to say it's awesome. Remember what we used to have? There's a passage in scripture. There's a passage in scripture that says that when they reconstructed the temple, I know you don't know anything about the Bible, but when they reconstructed the temple, do you know about this or no?
No, tell me.
Okay, that the old cried and the young applauded, cheered, were great in great joy. You know why? Because the old remembered the glory of the first temple and they cried because this new little thing was nothing compared to the original. And the young were all like, "Ah, it looks awesome." And that's what I fear is going to happen with the zoo. That us older folks, Manny, that remember the 1970s zoo, you know, the zoo that Gladys Porter built, the zoo that was one of the top 10 zoos in the country, we're going to cry. And the young are going to say, man, it's great. We got a petting zoo.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm afraid of. Lose accreditation for the zoo. Fix downtown
Yeah,
Brown.
that's most of the time you think of a petting zoo, you think of a good thing, but this is the first time you think of a petting zoo and think that would not be good, and that wouldn't last long.
You remember when we had elephants? We had elephants at the zoo. We had, I think, polar bears. I don't know if we still have polar bears. We had polar bears out there, didn't we?
I remember we had that one bear I went to go
Anyway,
cover.
I think we had a couple. But we had elephants. We don't have elephants anymore. We had Harambe, and then we sent him off to your neck of the woods, Chicago, no, to get killed.
Yeah, poor guy.
Was it in Chicago? Or was it in Ohio or some crappy
Oh,
place
I
like
think
that?
I thought it was Ohio.
Some crappy place like that. Plus money has used to build a parking lot behind Ricardo's and charge for it. Good way to make money for someone.
Cincinnati.
Huh?
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, yeah, one of those crappy cities like Chicago. The sad thing is, I've reached out to the zoo to help raise funds, but they continue to ignore me. It's crazy, bro. The GoFundMe was bringing in money when there was no income. Once ARPA monies were available, the zoo received money from the city. It should have never gotten that to that point, Commissioner. It's embarrassing. But Commissioner Santos is affirming they had a GoFundMe page, Manny. It was embarrassing that one of our key attractions in the city of Brownsville, you know,
But then you can take this a step further. I know people don't like to hear this, but the pandemic was the way governments treated the pandemic. I mean, they kept the public out of everything, out of everywhere.
everything.
I mean, they killed the zoo almost. They killed almost the Camille Playhouse.
Yes, which also had a GoFundMe page. I never got COVID. Did you get COVID?
Nope.
I never got COVID, and
And I worked for an airline. I was in airplanes 4 times a week at airports all over the country, and I never got it.
never got COVID. Do it in Linear Park. It's sure the federal judge will all warm up cozy around it. Rubble recycled tires. That's the one. But didn't they add like some sparkly stuff or something? Neon crap or something? I don't know what it was. Chancla is your management of the city service. Who are those two new young guy gal running for commissioners?
Linda Macias,
Oh, Brian
Tino,
Martinez. Brian
Brian
Martinez.
Martinez, Tino Villarreal.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, I think he's more in our, getting up to our, well, to your age group. You're like in your 40s, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think he's like in the 40s. I'm trying to lower my age down to y'all's age, so I say that in our age group. But he's on the older side. I think the younguns in this race are Linda Macias and Brian Martinez. They're the
Yeah.
younguns. But Claudia wants you to vote for Katy Presas. I think she's a good choice. She's letting those gray. John has not claimed it was his idea. He's simply willing to champion the effort. Which one? Uh,
Mm, what was he talking about?
I can't remember.
Okay, so
Verify, and I'll go down the comment. He's gonna say, he doesn't say yet. Okay, we'll come back to that one. Hey guys, hey Paul. Don't
Paul.
what did I say? Oh, Paul. I like Paul. Don't forget on Thursday, share your concerns with candidate Cathy Presas. Yes, yes, yes. Don Chuchos. I will be there. Itacuaches. Good evening. Good evening. Elephants don't belong in zoos. Our current city administration should be in it. I agree, some of them. Rest in peace, Harambe. He's the reason I bought the zoo in Super World.
I don't even know
Like,
what that is.
is it like
Video
a
game?
video game? Yeah. It was a pandemic. Yeah.
A pandemic. Don't even get me started on this.
It was not the result of neglect. No, let me tell you. Okay. Here's where Keith is out there applauding for fact checking. There's neglect, a constant, Commissioner. And I'm not blaming you all. It was a neglect. You were only there for a year, you know? It was neglected for years ago. They should have never let it get to where it was. So it wasn't because of neglect? Yes, it was because of neglect. They should have attended to it. They should have taken care of it. And again, I'm going to use this again because if I have a glass door at my office, and I've told you this one before, right, Manny? I have a glass door at my office. That little thing that stops the door from banging, you know, I didn't fix it. It would have cost me less than $20 to get that
Mm.
hydraulic piece of crap thing. I just didn't do it. So what happens? The door slams, 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 and sure enough, the door slammed and broke the glass. Well, guess what? Now I'm stuck paying $300 for a damn door where I easily could have paid $20. But I'm Mexican. And I said, mañana, mañana, mañana. And it cost me $300 to fix that damn door. That's what happened at the zoo. Don't you agree, Manny?
Instead of being proactive, they were just reactive. It's like you wait too long for the things start to deteriorate, then you can't wait till that last minute.
You can't wait. It's neglect. So, look, again, everyone says, Manny, it's the and Commissioner Los Santos is trying to use the tremendous excuse, you know, because when the freeze hit, Manny, you know, we called them out because they said nothing for 3 days.
Yeah, I
Commissioner
remember.
Santos said nothing for 3 days, and when we went out there, said, Mayor, y'all dropped the ball. You know what he said? He goes, it was an unexpected freeze. That's what he said. Who could have expected it? That's what he said. You know what my response was, right, Manny? You all should have been prepared for something. You know, that's what you're there for. So I'm sorry, Commissioner Los Santos, for you to say, "Oh well, it was the pandemic." That's finding an excuse. People here are tired of excuses. Y'all should have been
And
prepared for something.
it goes the
Huh?
same for when there's a storm coming, and they serve sandbags the day before.
You mentioned that on your show. You mentioned on your show. So they're telling us that there's a big old storm coming and stuff, and everyone else in the valley, Manny, is out there. They're
Days
out
ahead of time.
Brownsville is go get them 2 hours before the storm hits,
Yeah, and you can only get two, only two,
and bring a light bill. And
or whatever, four maybe, but whatever. It's not
then
enough.
there's these huge lines to get the sand. I still don't, and maybe because I live in a high house, I still don't understand why what people use sandbags for, but they need them. And I know what they stand, but therefore I just don't use them for
Yeah,
water.
if you overstuff them, they're actually a little less effective
Yeah,
because they have to be able to be pliable. So
they have
don't
to,
over stuff.
yeah. In order to not let water into your house, I know before I get slammed on. There was a GoFundMe for the zoo, and they also shared on Amazon page for donations. Yes, 100%. And it was look. God bless Commissioner Cowan. How the frick could he have not known about the GoFundMe page? You know, you're a sitting commissioner. Well, I don't know that actually happened. Well, you should have known because you were a commissioner overseeing the city and overseeing one of our gems, the Plattsburgh Zoo. And remember, the
Yeah.
city was overridden by the county and the state on shutdown orders. Um, yes and no, and I'll tell you why. Because Manny, you remember when they were all out there ballistic about shutting everything down? You know that they ordered churches to shut down?
Oh yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
You want
Yeah.
to know how many days we shut down as a church?
None.
Not a one. Did not shut down. You know why, Manny? Because we knew it was our constitutional right to gather and worship. Constitutional right, which later was clarified by the Trump administration and by Abbott, or one of the two, Remember that?
Yeah.
You got to know your rights. You can't let them shut you down. just because they say you're going to shut down. And I called Trey. I, I called her. I sent a text. I said, Mr. Mendez, Mayor Mendez, just to let you know, we're going to worship. We're not shutting down. So if you want to send the police officers here or anyone, law enforcement, we'll be here. We're not
What do
shutting.
you remember? Do you remember what happened in Chicago with Mayor Lori Lightfoot? She ordered the same thing. Nobody drive to church, or if you're going to go to church, stay in your car and worship from your car.
Go drive.
So, so there was a church, and there was service going on. So what did she do? She ordered tow trucks to go tow all the cars parked on the street because she thought those were the cars of all the parishioners. Well, guess what? All the parishioners walked to church. And she towed the cars of all the people that live in that neighborhood that work every day. She towed all their cars. Huge mistake.
I'm going to go down this. The zoo land is city property. Gladys Porter Zoo is not governed by the city. It needs to be helped by the city. Trust me, the last thing I want this city commission is to govern the Gladys Porter Zoo. The
Yeah, I
last
know.
thing. But it needs to be protected by the city because it brings revenue to the city of Brownsville. It is what makes Brownsville Brownsville. It must be protected. And they have their own foundation, whatever, lo que tú quieras. Got to do something to save the zoo. And according to John, one of his priorities. So, what is it?
Which is which is
So, what is it? Is it John wrong again? Because you proved him wrong last night. Are you proving him wrong again tonight? That it, hands off from the city? And if that's the case, then why is John making it a priority if it's not true? I mean, he's your gallo in this race. Already proved him wrong twice. Maybe he's not the best horse to bet on then. Uh, they're too quiet. Like they're during the county elections, they're bringing in Roy as quarterback to psych us out and pull off another win. The same strategy, the same issues, the same people, the same votes, and the same end. John is not wrong at all. Okay. We are working on getting additional land for a zoo expansion. Okay. But you just said Gas Porter Zoo is not governed by the city. Then there will be a capital campaign to expand the zoo. Well, yeah. Look, it should have happened a long time ago. Maybe, you know, maybe during the past 4 years. No?
that comment by Carlos is right. Part of that 10 million or whatever else he's going to contribute should have gone to the zoo.
Yes. Instead of to Trey Mendez. Should have gone to the zoo. Instead of John Cowan and Philip Cowan. Because remember, the Cowans have been involved in downtown for the past 77 decades. Or I don't know how long he said, something like that. The metaverse.
Something like that. Oh, that's what he's talking about. That zoo or what is that? He mentioned something about
A video game?
I can't remember. Yeah, remember when we said video game?
Yeah. Alan Del Bosque Gilbert is the CEO of PUB. Don't know him.
Her.
Oh, sorry. We don't use pronouns anymore. The area they want to expand is BISD registered property with the city and county. No matter they say it's city property. It's all city property.
And that's fine, but they need money too.
What is
What are
going
they
to
going
happen?
to do with the property? It's going to take money to expand into the property.
Something. What's going to happen to the tunnels idea for the zoo? You know, it's so trippy because we get all this stuff like, oh, we're going to do it like a teleférico. Have you heard of that? A teleférico? They're gonna have like this thing that goes on top over, so you'll like a little. What are they called? We call them
Oh,
teleférico.
like uh,
You know what I'm talking about, right?
kind of like a ski lift
Yeah,
that
like a
take you on the cable. Yeah,
cable
I know
car,
what you're
cable
talking about.
cars, no?
Cable cars, cable
Yeah,
cars.
but they go
That's
like
kind of a cable car.
from one area and they'll go all through the zoo and everything else, or whatever. BISD property is not city property. What I'm saying is it's all the city of Brownsville. That's what I said. I didn't say the BISD property. I was on the BISD board. I actually had a meeting, a zip line. That's what it is, zip line.
Like a
Yeah.
zip line.
I actually had a meeting with Ben Neese and the director of the zoo. And while I was sitting on the BISD board, and I said, guys, let's work it out. Let's do it. We've got to save the zoo. And we weren't using the property. We weren't using the Red Ants football field. What what BISD decided to do is expand the CTE program, and this is one of the things where everything got really really convoluted. It was just a big old mess because I don't know if you remember when Lozoya was the director for GBEC. Now John Cowan is the director, the chair for GBEC, and Lozoya was the director. But different positions, yes. Before I get called out on it, Lozoya out there, he brought down Manny this big old robot from Toyota. It was this robot arm and something great stuff. Not a dog in it. My concern back then, and I was on the BISD board. My concern was, well, wait, do we really want to put it in Cummings? You know?
Hmm.
And they were going like, well, what do you mean? Well, do we really want to put it in Cummings? Because what's going to happen, Manny, is they had to revamp that whole area where the gym was at on the side, which faces La Resaca. They were going to have to upgrade it and add more power to it because of this robotic arm. So they were going to have to invest like I don't know $3 to $5 million, something like that, in order to just bring this arm down. That which is great, a great thing. I'm not dogging it, but my concern was why invest so much in the property if we're probably going to have to give it to the zoo anyway, you know? And
Hmm.
everyone's going like, "Oh, that's what are you talking about?" I said, like, guys, we've got to expand the zoo, and Cummings was dead. You know, they instilled the CTE program, Manny, but all that could have easily been picked up and moved to Resaca, that school that's on the expressway, because that's empty, Manny, empty. Just expand the CTE program over there, add a veterinarian program over there because it's walking distance, you know?
Hmm.
You know where Resaca's at, right? Where they had that Indian up there, that
Yeah.
chief. Expand the CTE program over there and add a veterinarian program and have kids walk to the zoo, and all Cummings becomes the zoo, you know? Give it to the zoo and part of Dean Porter Park, part of Ringgold, and part of Linear Park. But no, there's no vision. There's no real talks amongst these folks. Nothing gets done. And now we've got I think now we have that robotic arm out there, and it costs us a big old chunk of money to put it in there. And I had this conversation with Ben Nees. I said, Ben, get working on it quick because we're about to put in that big old machine, and it's going to cost crap loads of money. The zoo is just a sad place. Yeah. Last time we had an elephant at the zoo was 2007. We had two. One passed away, and the zoo was not allowed to bring in another because we didn't meet the land requirements. Yes, we
Hmm.
had elephants. City expands in the most reckless and unethical manner. Screw you. Put it up for a vote, a referendum. I want to see what people that live there think about saving the zoo. Well, that neighborhood, even you remember that neighborhood that's next to the zoo? That's been a neighborhood that's been slowly fading out.
Yeah.
That would have been, you know, you've got to start going out there and talking to people and getting ready to buy a bunch of land out there. Maybe could have expanded all the way to Ringgold. I don't know, something. And Tucker, I think most of our Brownsville wouldn't mind if UB would donate some of the 10 million to renovate the zoo. Yes, that would be a great idea. But then again, we have Chanclas, Cow, and Tetro who are not going to do a damn thing. Unfortunately, yes, they're not going to do a damn thing. It's not going to happen. So how else?
Has
How,
it?
mother?
Has any of the other candidates been on online somewhere or appearing somewhere? Because
They've been
there's a couple I have not seen at all. You know who I haven't seen anywhere? One of
Tetro
them. Hmm.
nowhere. A couple of Captain Bob has little shows in the morning. Captain Bob seems to think that now he's the king of all local social media. And yeah, it's not happening, Captain Bob. But yeah, I appreciate the effort. But
He's a funny guy. He's a funny guy.
he's a funny guy. He's had some good shows. He's had some good shows. But Patrol refuses to speak to anyone. So I don't know. It's interesting. I think there's a group out there that have me and Cowan in the runoff. That's going to be interesting. You know, someone that has all the money in the world, Cowan, and that's something that I wish I was just so pissed off at a lot of his answers. But he's going to spend in the upwards of $100,000 on this race, man. I mean, that's what he spent for the city commission race.
The first campaign finance reports are second week in April.
I don't know.
That's when they're due. Yeah,
I,
something like that.
I've gotten one major donation, which I am very proud of, and I'm not going to mention who donated the money yet, but I'm greatly appreciated. I mean, I got a big old $300 donation, man. That's the biggest donation I've ever gotten. So I'm very, very proud of that. A lot of other individuals have donated. I think I've raised a good $500. So I'm keeping my promise. I'm not
Use it,
spending more than $3,000.
use it wisely.
I'm going to do my best. Let's finish off. We all see Tetro's cleavage everywhere. It's not a good see. They don't offer nothing for the youth. Nothing for the youth who are shooting each other in the streets like crazy. Let me tell you, one of the things that I hope is to expand the youth build program. I hope to bring back a lot of the boys and girls clubs to Brownsville. I really want to work with city parks and recreation and up the game in regards to a lot of these. And look, Rolando, let me say this. Let me say this. I'm really saddened that a 17-year-old is up for first-degree murder in the city of Brownsville. A 17-year-old, and looks like a beautiful kid, you know, first-degree murder, and he killed a 21-year-old. That hurts my heart because maybe, Rolando, you're right. Maybe we had more social programs here, you know. Maybe we had more boys and girls club. Maybe we've had more after school programs like we used to have before, but we don't because our city commission wants to invest in hike and bike trails for those fat people that wear those tight skin, whatever they are, should never be wearing them. If you're on the chubby side, do not wear lycra. Not a good look,
Especially the flesh colored.
huh? Oh my
especially the
God!
flesh color.
Please do not do that. But I want our monies reinvested into the people of Brownsville. And unfortunately, Manny, the monies have been squandered, have been pissed away, have been pocketed by all these individuals. Tenasca, Trey Mendes, $200,000, downtown, and we're losing our youth. But my heart goes out to both families, the 17-year-old's family, the 21-year-old's family. It's horrible. Does Commissioner Santos pout around town thinking, por culpa de Erasmo, all Brownsville calls me chanclas? No, I think he likes it. 30 days before election, so April 6th.
Campaign finance reports.
Uh, you're not going to see much on mine. Anything else, Manny?
Nope, it's been a good couple of weeks hearing everybody out.
You're going to do Linda Macias tomorrow.
Yep. And the next week I got Gati Presas Sunday. And
Cool.
I'm trying to get Gati Presas. Trying to get William Garza, but he hasn't got back to me. Who's the other guy running for commissioner? The one that was with Captain Bob the other day.
I didn't start the chanclas nickname. I'll take credit for it, but I think, I think maybe not. Maybe you already had it before, but I think I made sure that more people. It was one of the homophobes who shall remain. Oh, well, I think I was guilty of making sure everyone and their mother knew about the Commissioner Lachang. It's cute, you know. I didn't say
Ernesto
Commissioner.
Lopez. I got him coming up too.
Oh,
Ernesto
Ernesto,
Lopez? Yeah.
I didn't say Commissioner Santos was cute. I said La de las Chanclas was cute. You just made it famous. You're welcome. Man, you're having some good shows out there with people. You know, it's one of the things I think, Manny, that happens with those type of interviews. It's either it's going to break you or it's going to make you. You know, and I didn't think it made John tonight. You know, I think my interview was great. Well,
Yeah, of course you do.
I think because it was just right on point. You know, and we talked about so many topics, everything. I don't think it helped John that much today. Uh, I think Tino
Well,
did okay.
how would you rate everybody else? How would you rate?
I think mine was amazing, and I'm not saying that just because it was mine, because it was just like very fast flowing on the point. I think Brian Martinez struggled a lot, and I think he was going around, around, around in circles. I think one of the things that Brian Martinez uh, benefits from is that he's right there tied to the hip to Commissioner de las Chanclas, so he's like picking up on all that political talk, and I think that's going to ultimately hurt him. I think Norit Galansky did okay. I wish she would have been a little bit more forthright in regards to answering concerning Tanasca and concerning her time whilst on the chair at the PUB board. Those are the type of things that I wish she would have expanded a little bit more on. I wish she would have touched the Casa de Nylon building just a tad little more, but that's okay. Uh, I think Tino Villarreal, I think he did well. I think one of the, and again, I made mention of this to individuals. There was a question. I think one of the things that really like spiked for Tino Villarreal was his his calm composure and very very breathed speech. And by that I mean you have to be when you're a coach. Very very prepared, very very eloquent, and he works for St. Joe, so it's he's got to up the game a little bit even more. I think one of the things that I would avoid if I was William Garza or Commissioner candidate Susan Rubalcaba, I would avoid questioning him on his tenure at PUB resignation, not his votes, his resignation. Because what happened in years, and I thought it was like, damn, he started to go into, his parents battling cancer. Man, you're never going to win any points if you're an opponent when someone's talking about, their parents suffering from cancer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's kind of those kind of stuff, and I think you mentioned it during the show. Like, you got to stay away from that. And then, yeah, if they should have. Um, who else have you had? John. Yeah, you
Yeah.
know, political talk, political talk, and then you had uh, their pitcher, Roy de los Santos, was out there pitching for Brian and John Cowan. I don't think he did that well either.
Oh, Susan was on.
Oh, as you know, Susan is well versed. I think when it comes to the main issues in this campaign, Susan is very, very, very well versed, very eloquent. And one of the things that I think I can appreciate a lot about Susan is she doesn't seem like the individual that's going to political talk you. You know, she's going to give it to you the way it
Yeah.
is. And I'm praying that that's the type of individual that the city of Brownsville is ready to start to accept. No more political talk. No more. We're going to try. It's a supposition. We're going to put five things up there for us to consider. Tired of that. Tell me what you're going to do. And what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to kick them in the nuts. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to kick them all in the nuts. But I'm going to get you back your 179 million. I'm going to make sure that our first responders are taken well care of. And I'm going to make sure that there's safeguards put in place so that what happened to us never, ever happens to us again. And that we
Yeah.
fix the infrastructure.
Yeah. If you can pull off getting 179 million, I'll jump on that train. I won't lie.
That's, anyone who serves Brownsville in public office needs to generally love Brownsville, not just use their position to blow themselves up. If that they want enough of that, we deserve better. Preach. Right on, diligent. Eee. They found their partner. So that's why, guys. The only viable candidate right now for office is Erasmo Castro. I'm going to say it here. I'm going to say it now. Be the first one to say it. Might be the only one to say it. Thanks, Manny, for coming on. And great shows. Tomorrow at 8 o'clock, Manny Behind the Mic with Linda Macias. And I'll be watching that one too.
Yep.
I think that there's a couple of inconsistencies that, I'd like to address. As I don't vote in that district, but we'll see. So good job, man. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Guys, have a great
Trying.
Guys, have a great evening. Social distance, face covering, hand sanitizer, seal and all that crap, guys. See you tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock in the morning. Be good to each other. Continue to be good to me. God bless.